on to the final claim. Through doubts and fears, through hurt and strain, we're in this together, step by step we go. We'll lift you up when the going's slow. You're not alone, we're standing by your side, helping you through every twist and the ride. With strength, with hope, and with all we do, the Disability Digest is here for you. Yeah, the Disability.
Greetings and happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest. Welcome, Nadine, Phillip. Thank you for joining our event today. We have a different type of event today. Actually, it's the number one reason why people lose their benefits. They don't get approved and they have a challenging time keeping them. And our guest speaker, Mr. Michael Sexton, something must have happened because he is not able to make it. But I am fully aware of what the agenda items are. I plan to go through them from start to finish with you and provide you with this valuable information. So thanks again for joining the show today. And let's see what else we have on tap. We're going to do some Q&A, right? Question and
Yes.
answer. Good, good. And Philip Price, in case you don't know it, is the manager, operator, chief executive officer of the largest, fastest growing support group for disability applicants. So good to have you here with us.
Great to be here.
Your group provides wonderful support, partnering with us. We teach people how to do it, and that's what makes the world go around. So, yeah, our primary objective of doing these is if we look at the numbers out there, there's 1.9 million people that apply for their disability benefits and 630 something thousand get them. That's pretty typical annually. So it's a very low approval percentage. So our effort here is for those of you trying to get your benefits is to close that gap, because we know internally if we work with somebody directly to help them on their disability benefits, the numbers are significantly different. And like one of the topics I'm going to share with you today is one of the key reasons, it's communication. So we're going to do that. And also, once you have your benefits approved, about 144,000 people a year are losing their benefits. So we work with people that are approved to help them understand like how to keep their benefits and how to maximize them. Things like, are you getting everything that you're entitled to? Are there things that you are paying for that you shouldn't be? You know, other little things that we've learned from our almost 2 decades of doing this that help people, you know, survive and get by on a fixed income. So that's what we do. So we hope that you enjoy the show here today. All right, let's get into it. I just want to frame this by saying we had an individual that we'd worked with for like 3 years and preparing them, going through the disability approval process. And they go to court and they had met before court with their representative that's going to be with them in court. And when they get into court, they're talking to the judge. The judge asked some questions that allowed or prompted the individual to talk about conditions that they had not reported in their case file, like significant ones. So this individual had like significant brain health issues, but only had the physical issues in the case. And so this individual, we still don't know if this person is going to get approved. There's a few things that happen here. One, it's a credibility issue because you're not being forthright and communicating everything. And it could definitely go in your favor. So that doesn't help you well. But if the mental health issues were treated, would that provide an influence on the physical so this individual could work? So there is a real downside of not properly reporting all of your conditions or accurately reporting the conditions that you have and the severity and how they impact you. So we're going to cover some strategies here today to make a difference. One of the first things is, and if you're out there watching this show today and you've had a challenging time getting a diagnosis, if you just drop us a note. I mean, this is a problem with disability applicants and recipients. And, I was having lunch with one of my mom's friends who's 90 years old. She's been trying to figure out what's wrong with her for about 2 years. She's lost like 20% of her body weight, lost her voice. They can't figure it out. There's all kinds of stories like this out there. But one of the key things is getting a diagnosis. Because if you have something wrong with you and it's not diagnosed, then Social Security cannot consider it as evidence because they don't know what it is. So that's the number one thing. How you do that, I mean, that's a whole show in its own to get that figured out. But getting everything diagnosed is going to be the key. And that's like your neurological, your musculoskeletal, your psychiatric. And sometimes what I have found, and Nadine and Philip, perhaps you've experienced this, is when you're talking to people that are disability applicants or recipients, they may know they have a condition and they just haven't pursued it. Like, I don't want to call guys out, especially right before Father's Day, but guys are like commonly, they're like, you know, me? Depression? You got to be kidding me.
Denial. Denial.
Denial.
Yeah.
Denial. Yeah. So two ways to look at it. One, strengthen your case. It would address the issues, that I brought up here, but it could make you feel better. I mean, the reality of it is, if you're sick or injured and you're out of work, your income's taking a hit. You're probably not going to be really excited about that, and depression is a real thing. So how do you do it? So the strategy to do this is and it is going from head to toe. And if you have met with or talked to somebody that's really good at this work, like in understanding and analyzing somebody and kind of reflect on the questions that they've asked you, then they're going to go through from head to toe. Like a doctor will go through from head to toe if they're good at what they're doing, and it's not one of those 12-minute primary care visits. And they'll analyze you and they'll ask probing questions about like your cognitive ability. And are you sleeping? Are you sleeping enough? Is your sleep consistent? Are you waking up at night 2 or 3 times? So what I'm attempting to communicate to you is you have to be your own advocate and start. I use my hands when I talk, French, can't get away from it. Is start from the top and start working your way down. Like, is anything going on that's different, right? Then your vision and your hearing. Is your vision impaired? Sometimes people, Philip, perhaps you can relate to this. Diabetes, when your A1C gets high, it'll have an impact or could have an impact on your vision,
Yep. For
right?
sure.
So what is that like? Then work your way down. Is there anything going on with the mobility or lifting ability in your arms? Has that changed? Has it gone from 50 pounds to 30 pounds? And this is really important because your disability, your premise for your disability approval and keeping your benefits is your limitations. So to have those properly documented and supported in your medical records is key. I'm going to keep going here, but that's just kind of a pause and a timeout on this. So, and we'll get through what to do with these in a moment. So you've got your neck, shoulders, back. The most common disability approval is for somebody with chronic back pain, degenerative disc disease, other disc-related issues. Arms, hands, your ability to grasp, carpal tunnel syndrome, anything that's limiting your ability. Has it changed? Is it different? Is it moving? Right? Legs, feet, knees, and then you go internally. So is there anything with your internal, like is your digestion different? Is your toileting different? Of course, things change when you get older. For me, anyway, your toileting does change. I think that's the natural progression, but definitely observing anything that's significant. So these are the areas that you want to look at. So I've kind of laid that out. And the common mistakes that people make, I want to repeat this again, is they don't document it, they don't observe it, they don't pursue it, right? That's number one. Number two is they underreport it. And I'll use veterans as an example, especially combat veterans. One of the challenges they have in getting their benefits approved is they're taught to play hurt. So they could have a pain level that a civilian will have as a 9, and maybe they're not even reporting it, or they're reporting it as a 2. So in their medical records, there's that disconnect. So properly reporting it, going back to, the pride thing of a male not pursuing a mental health challenge. It's similar. So underreporting, not observing are some of the common challenges that people face that cause problems with this, right? So in the ideal world, you're going to have everything documented. You're going to clearly understand your limitations, and then you are going to use some best practices that we cover frequently here, which is reporting them to your doctor. But I missed a step. Before you report those to your doctor, you need to document them. I hold this up as my example. If journaling your limitations and how they're tracked, even myself as an able-bodied person, I keep an ongoing health log that tracks, I don't have any significant limitations, but if I did, I would be tracking them, that tracks other things. And then I report these back to my doctor. And for a disability applicant or recipient, the strategy is different. You want to be reporting your limitations, like take your top 5 limitations that you've created from this. And if you can't sit for 15 minutes, stand for 20 minutes, you're not able to lift more than 20 pounds, you write all these down, and then these are brought into your doctor. Every appointment. And there's 2 reasons why you're doing this. One is you're getting treated to get better. 2 is you want to get those limitations from every visit in your medical record. Why do you want to do that? Because Social Security is going to look at your medical records through the approval process and through the review process. And if you're treated and despite your treatment, there's limitations that are in your medical records, that puts a lock on your disability benefits. That's what ties all of this together, right?
Mhm.
So let's go back through a recap here. The recap is you want to start from head to toe, go down through all the limitations. Why do you want to do this? Because if you're not reporting everything properly, then it's going to have an impact on your credibility and your impact on not being able to have everything put into your case file. That's impacting your work. Those are the 2 areas that it's going to impact you on. Do that, document it, and then bring it to your doctors. Those are the primary steps for doing it. So I'm in hopes that this helps people understand just one little nuance that can close the gap from all of those that apply to those that get approved, to all of those that are out there, the 144,000 that are losing their benefits. And they don't lose them all because of medical documentation. Some people do other things that impact their benefits. But that is really the key here. So I want to pivot our show now into Q&A mode. Shall we go through the same process? Philip first,
Yeah.
Nadine, does that work for you?
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
All right. Got several questions here today.
Good.
All right. First one is there a form that can be filled out to get a list of medical records, doctors' reports that SSA has received? I have a hearing coming up. I wanted to make sure that I received all my records. Or
Really
they
good
was,
question.
yeah.
Yep. You are entitled to receive a copy of your case file. Um, and if you contact the most recent contact at Social Security, I don't know if your case is in the hearing office or not, but they can get that for you. And another way you can get it, excuse me, is if you're using a disability representative, then they could get access to that as well and confirm that your medical records are or are not in there. And if you're thinking of going to a hearing without an attorney, this is one area where I just want to make sure I'm clear. It's really, really risky. Uh, it's just the judges are used to a different workflow. And as an untrained person, you have the right to go there. But oftentimes a judge will say, listen, do you really want to do this? I'll reschedule so you can get representation. So something for you to consider.
Okay. Sammy asked to clarify, I have multiple health problems that are well documented for many years. The question was whether I should have two additional problems looked into before I apply, or does it matter since the process takes so long if I'm not diagnosed with those until later?
Yeah. All right. That's a good question. I believe right now where you, if you're not working and you're in a position to apply, um, I would start your application process now, continue to pursue the diagnoses, and then, once you get those, you can add that to your case file. That would be my approach. It's a general answer. I don't know all the details about your case, but pardon me, I'm just running low on power. I got to juice up here, but that would be my suggested approach based on what I know.
Okay, next one comes from Matt. Matt says, do ALJ hearings have to be in person or can they be done virtually? I'm in New Jersey and it's different by state. I just got denied yet again in reconsideration, and my attorney didn't get back to me about this, so I know I'm all anxious.
Right. Good question. And Social Security offers the ability to have a hearing, um, and offer a hearing. You can do it in person. There's very few that do this now, and but you can have it done telephone, which is the most popular out there. You can do a video hearing at your home. You can go to their office and do a video hearing. The most popular one is telephone. Yeah.
Okay. All right, next one comes from Anonymous. Says, I had my CE yesterday. I'm wondering if anybody knows if they update the status online at all at once, or they've received the report. I don't know what that means.
All right.
Once
Michael,
they
welcome.
once,
Michael, welcome. I'll loop you in a moment. Glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Michael.
hey, Michael.
Hey, good
So
afternoon.
the CE question and having that updated, I know that it does appear in a case file. You can see it. I don't know if this individual is working with a representative. That would be one place you could see it. If they're asking if you can see it in your My SSA account, not that I know of, I don't believe it appears there, but you could request it. One has the right to it.
Okay, you want to continue with this or
Yeah,
let
yeah.
Michael?
When we're done with you, then
All
we'll
right.
jump back to Michael and finish up that segment.
All right. Next one. My online account changed to step 4 yesterday. Today I called SSA and was told that a decision is already made, but she can't tell me and just wait for the letter in the mail and to call back if I don't receive it by the 14th. Is this normal that they don't tell you over the phone what the outcome is?
They like to torture you. Yeah, this is common. This is the only way I know it. I don't know what level this case is at. But if it's an initial or reconsideration, I definitely monitor your online account. Um, it's because you may find out there, you likely will find out there before you receive a letter.
All right, that was actually the last one.
Yeah.
You want to move on to Nadine?
Sure. This is what I'd like to do. Michael, thanks for joining. I just catch you up. I went through the presentation, the interview questions that I had about the topics. But what I would like to see if I could have you kind of tighten that up with is some real life examples. Um, I'm 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 putting you on the spot here, but I'll put you, send you in the right direction. I know that you recently represented somebody that was a Disability Digest member in court, and this individual did not have all of their limitations, conditions diagnosed, reported, and it caused some challenges for you. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, I've had a few of these.
Yeah, so I think I've gone through the nuts and bolts, but giving some, if you have that and then maybe another real life example to just really validate the degree, like what this problem is, that would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, this is a common issue I see amongst really denials in general. And what typically happens is people don't go and they don't go and explain to their doctors what is really going on with them, what difficulties they face, symptoms they're experiencing, and the degree of the severity of those symptoms. Uh, every time you go to your doctor, you need to be telling them exactly what's going on with you. Uh, when you go, especially on a consistent basis, and tell your doctors that everything's fine, that's verbatim what Social Security will put in your denial notice. And realistically, there's no other reason that they should think otherwise. And that's by far the number one reason, I can't emphasize that enough. The number one reason that people get denied is because they keep going to their doctors and telling them, I'm fine. I mean, we just had one recently denied. Is a cardiac case, and the representative I work with felt very strongly about this case. And I tried to explain to them the problem here, and it was denied for federal court appeal as well, because for the same reason it was denied at the administrative level. With the ALJ, he went to the doctor and he kept telling all of his doctors, I have, and on paper, he had an ejection fraction LVEF that was like 15%. Very, very low. I mean,
Yeah.
usually people with that ejection fraction are severe fatigue, dealing with, all these crazy symptoms. Shockingly, he wasn't. He says he was after the fact, but when he actually went into the doctors, he basically said he can shop, he can do laundry, he can do all of these things. And they even cited it in the ALJ's decision as saying his symptoms, based on what he told his doctors, were more of an annoyance to his life than they were an actual, like, really substantial impairment, and especially in his age category, where it would erode that, what we call erode the sedentary occupational base, or get him under that, finding of disability for under age 50, which is for physical, especially, just a brutal standard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And just to kind of rewind a little bit, for those of you that don't know Michael Sexton, he has an interesting backstory. I'm just going to hit the highlights here. Went to Michigan State, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Michigan State University, went through their law program, um, got out, and you decided not to pursue and pass the bar, which I fully expect you could. But there's benefits of not actually passing the bar when you're going to do this type of work, which you're very passionate about. Your company that's right conveniently
Yeah.
behind you there, Spartan Disability, is Michael's business. And so what impresses me about Michael and why I continue to have him back here, I think part of this is your influence from a family member that has a significant disability, but your approach to this work is unique in a good way, where you put a lot of time, effort, and energy into helping people prepare, go to court, and that extra effort definitely shows in your win rate, which is off the charts. So we're delighted to have you help out with our members. We don't like them to go to court, but if they have to, that's it. So what you're hearing is, somebody that works in a court setting, he gets cases at the end, people work all this time to get their case there, and they forget to check a few boxes and do some things right. So yeah. Question for you. If you look at, the caseloads and the people that you've worked with and represented, do you have an idea what percentage of actually do this right? Like, what percentage are getting all of their conditions diagnosed? I mean, do you have an idea?
It's a low percentage. I mean, in terms of people who consistently go in, there's usually something wrong with every case. I'll give a good example. I do a lot of things in this field. One of them, as Brian mentioned, I own my own disability practice, Spartan Disability, but also I do a good percentage of the hearings for Brian's firm as well as several other firms. And what I really specialized myself in when I first got started is pre-hearing briefs and chronological summaries. So I would go through all of the medical records for a file that was coming up. And I would turn it basically from 2,000 pages into like a 13 to 14 page pre-hearing brief. And one of the things that I've found consistently in doing that is I can't just send the pre-hearing brief. I have to send a large list of notes following that separately in a separate email chain to the representative or the attorney, and say, here's all the issues. States this, states that, was non-compliant at this stage, was uh, says that he needs a cane or walker, but did not bring it to all of these medical appointments, did not bring that cane or walker to the consultative examination, which, please, if you take anything away from this, that's the number one thing you should do, is bring a cane or walker to your CE if you need one or if you use one. They will immediately, first thing in that file, in that CE report, is going to be, did not need an ambulatory device. Says he needed one, didn't need it, fine, and no issues with his gait, not disabled. So the quickest way to sink your case, if you want to pursue that route, which I highly recommend not. But there's always a million problems, yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So our effort here is to help people do it. Well, maybe right would be ideal if we could just get people to do it better. Uh, right. To
We'd have a
quote,
much easier time.
yeah. And so would they. I mean, I don't, yeah, it's what, I don't understand what the downside is. I guess there's some effort involved, but, it's a matter of getting your benefits or not oftentimes. So good, good. Do you have any other examples? Anything else you can think of that you might want to hit and leave people with?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest one. The cane is the other example, the cane or walker. If you need or use a cane or walker, uh, don't just make sure, incredibly important that you bring it to your CE, but you really need to be bringing that to every medical appointment that you have because they will always make note of that in the record. And anytime that you don't on that denial decision, they're going to bring that up. They're going to cite that and say, well, if he didn't use it here, here, and here, he doesn't really need it. And that's
Mm,
like both for a listing level, physical type of condition criteria, really almost, I mean, most musculoskeletal physical listings
mm,
but also for even like a step five, just showing that you are disabled, that you're unable to perform a substantial number of jobs in the national economy. Uh, Having it's called a medically necessary or medically determinable necessary need for a cane or ambulatory device, cane walker, especially if it's for balance issues, it's huge. And it's like I mean, it's one of the first questions I ask when people call me is, do you need it? Is it prescribed? Do you need it? And if you can get it prescribed, you really need to do that too. That's the other big issue I see in cases is there's not a great outline for how to determine if something is medically necessary. Uh, and basically, the way that it's come down through the courts at this point is it's medically necessary if one, treating physician and CEs all agree that it is, which that's not common. Or two, if you get a prescription for that cane or walker, and it might sound ridiculous. Why would I get a prescription for a cane? It's $20 at the store. My grandpa had a walker, and
yeah.
I
Yeah.
use his. It's very important for your disability case, so you definitely need to do that.
Yeah. It goes back to the premise that I attempt to communicate to people that you need to have conditions that are diagnosed, and despite that, there's limitations. So if
Mhm.
you have a device, walker, cane, and it's not prescribed, then I mean, that draws a parallel with having a condition that's not diagnosed, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good, great. So, well, that's wonderful. I thank you for chiming in and sharing that with us. I know your time is tight, but you're welcome to hang out for the rest of the show. Q&A, maybe somebody has some questions for you. Love to have you if you've got the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely
All
do.
right,
Thank you.
all right. So the next part of our program is Nadine is going to uh, take some questions and then also
Mhm.
offer. I'll let you explain what you're going to do so
All
I don't
right.
screw it up.
Sure. So thank you so much, Brian, Mike, and Philip, for all of those valuable information that you've shared, especially the real life experience. So the next segment, the most awaited part, is going to be our live Q&A. So I see a lot of questions in the chat right now, but we would love to have you join us live via Zoom. So I'm gonna drop the link for those of you who would like to ask question live and join us in the room. And just a few reminders, because this has been a challenge to some. If you are on your phone, make sure that your microphone is on mute and your camera is on. You can do that by just tapping anywhere on your screen to bring up the Zoom controls. Just tap on the camera and the microphone icon to turn them on. And then if you're on your computer, just hover your mouse to see the Zoom toolbar. It's usually at the bottom of the screen. So same thing, just click on the microphone and the camera to turn them on. So I just shared the links. So again, everyone, uh, you're invited to join us live and ask your question. But while we wait for that, Brian, we do have questions here from the chat. So one from someone called Rude Rabbit. I have challenges filling out initial paperwork. Wondering if there's any place known like advocates and all that don't require contractual claim so I can set up full to a lawyer later.
Uh, yeah, there's, I know there's Centers for Independent Living. Some of them will do this. Michael, do you have any insight on this?
Yeah, and this is regarding just like the actual act of filling out the paperwork, right? Like someone needing assistance in that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the initial application or work history or what, but I'll presume initial.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's a signature issue, then yeah, there are assistive groups that can help out. I mean, a lot of hospitals have, like, I have a case manager that works for Maze. He, for most of his career, was a person at a hospital, a big hospital in Texas that specifically does things like that, assist with things. I mean, in terms of like the actual knowing what to say, what to put on there, that one's tough. I mean, they have legal aid. They don't generally do stuff like that. I can tell you legal aid and the other free legal forms of representation, they're not custom tailored. They don't do what Brian's group does, the Disability Digest. They won't give you a significant amount of advice, and really run through what needs to be said. So, yeah, I don't know.
I'll take one last swing at this. In in our disability approval course, in section one, there is a how to complete your initial application. And yes, it is a video. You do need to watch it, and then you need to like take your doctors and enter it and your medication and all that stuff. But it does go through step by step what you need to do. And if that's not enough to close the gap, then, kick it back to the options that Michael and I had discussed.
Okay. All right. So we have Dana who wanted to join us and ask his question live. Actually, I spoke with this member. He's a member at the Disability Digest. I spoke with him like I think yesterday. And he has a question because he stopped working in 2011, by the way, Brian, and he his DLI or date last insured is in 2016. Um, and then he went back to work in 2021. So right now, he wanted to file for disability. So I'll let him in so he can give his situation in detail.
Great. So Dana is logged in as has another stage name apparently in the
Yeah.
login. Okay. Great. So I see some. Here we go.
Hello?
Hi. Hi there.
Yeah, see what's going on, how I can get the help I need.
We'll give it a shot. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I just didn't know I was actually doing a live call.
You are live. You are live. Yep. Yeah, and if this is something you're not comfortable with, and you can put your question in the text chat and we'd be glad to help it that way. But you've got like, I don't know how many years of experience in the room here. So if you're looking for help, I expect we could help you out.
Well, I need help on reapplying for my disability because they're telling me they found me disabled, but non-medically they denied me because of my DTL window, which back when I was approved for VA disability, I was told I could not work, and I have the status of unemployable on my letter. So I only found out recently that I can work more than the poverty threshold.
Uh, there's some information that I'd like to ask you a few questions, Dana, so I get a better understanding. So you were approved for Social Security disability and then you returned to work. Is that right?
No, let's see. So I got my disability rating from the VA a year after I separated. I fought for 3 or 4 years after that to finally get TDIU.
Mm-hmm.
And after I was awarded that, or just slightly before, I applied for Social Security disability. I was denied. Went to an attorney. Then I went in front of a judge. Denied. Ultimately, I had two attorneys deny me.
All right.
But
So
I mean, there's
help.
evidence that says
I'm gonna,
otherwise.
yeah, I'll get on to the evidence in a minute. When were you denied by a judge for your Social Security disability benefits? What month,
Uh,
year?
I think let's just say I'm not looking at any information right now, but I think the latest was 2000,
I missed that number. May I hear it again?
2018.
Okay. And when did you last work?
Well, I'm sort of working now,
Let me
working for a family. Just
when did you last have annual earnings of more than $15,000 a year?
to cents.
You're breaking up. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Would you repeat it?
In 2011, that's when I got out of the service. I tried to work for a family in the construction industry, and about 3 weeks into that,
Okay. So the sound bites that I'm collecting, Dana, and now I don't hear you at all. I see that your mic is moving. Is that you last worked in 2011? You applied for disability and were denied by a judge in 2018. And it sounds to me like your date last insured has expired. Is
well,
anybody
yeah,
else?
what Social Security is telling me is they said my date last work, they looked at 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and they found me disabled in June of 2016. But all the they said in order for them to look at my info again, I need evidence that's prior to the 2016. So I'm wondering if they physically looked at my full medical history from the date of separation, or if they only looked at a certain amount of window.
No, I don't know about that, but what I think that they're saying is they want to see medical evidence that supports that you are disabled when you are actually insured for Social Security disability benefits, because your Social Security disability benefits, and if you're out there applying for disability, work for a while, make sure you listen up to this. Your disability benefits expire typically about 5 years after you've been out of work, which it sounds like that's the case. So they're asking for evidence prior to that. Michael, please chime in if you think I'm not on track with this, to prove that you were disabled.
Yeah, I think that's exactly correct. I mean, it sounds like the DLI is 2016, maybe 2018.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you're disabled. It's called a remote DLI case. It is really these are especially difficult because you can't get new evidence, or it's incredibly difficult to get new medical treatment that reflects what would be called reflects upon the prior period of time. Um, Now, I was a little confused. It almost sounded like he was on disability and then was removed from it. Maybe that was part of the soundbite that was kind of going in and out. The information wasn't, I'd have a lot of questions to follow up. But yeah, the DLI issue, that's a big issue, unfortunately. And we
Yeah.
see this with veterans a lot.
Yeah. And it could be that there was a communication issue regarding the denial being relative to veterans benefits and not being the full 100% or unemployable. That part wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Right.
so I got out in 2011. I did my benefits disability discharge stuff. I was awarded 1 year after separation. I was awarded 90%. And I was trying to work, but I couldn't continue the work. So I went on unemployment until I could figure out. So I was applying for TDIU, which that last 10% of disability is very hard to get.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I got TDIU, and then I was told when I received TDIU, I was unemployable because that little labels on my disability form saying I'm receiving 100% and I'm unemployable. But I just found out in 2021 that I was able to work as long as it wasn't over poverty income. So I went technically from 2012 or late 2011 to 2021 with no work because I was lied to and told I could not work, with the exception of knowing I could if there was something I could do. So recently I reapplied for this now that I've had um, 5 years of work again. And then I provided new evidence with my MRI of my back, neck, back, the whole spine, which shows valid evidence. But they're telling me I need proof before 2016. The only proof that I can come up with outside of the VA was when I did voc rehab, and that person deemed me unemployable.
All
That's the
right. So
only
in respect
evidence I
of
have.
time, I think I've got it. I want to be respectful to others and make sure that we help you. And you're always welcome to reach out to us as advocates. But this is where we're at, that I see it. Is it sounds like you return to work and you have a new application that's in the system that would be based on your current work history, right? I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to have the highest probability of you getting approved. And that is not going to be dependent upon you going back to 2016 or 18 and getting evidence. That's going to be dependent on what have you done lately for treatment. So if that's the case, and what you're working on, I would ride that one. I would use our disability approval course so you understand how to manage your case, and what the other options are if you don't want to manage it, and pursue that. And I would just let go of all of that going back to 2016, 18 remote DLI, very difficult cases, low probability of winning.
Yeah, and the only other downfall is the income is not adequate for what they request for the yearly amount.
Yeah. Anybody else, Philip, Nadine, Michael, have anything to add for Dana?
Yeah. So basically, I think what Dana is trying to say, Brian, is that the recent work history that he has from 2021 up to 2025 is not enough to cover the work credits that's required.
Okay, so then he has a new application based on what then?
On that, yeah. So based on that, he's been denied, and
Uh,
what he's trying to like appeal for is that prior, like in 2016 or 2011, he was already disabled and he was supposed to be qualified at that time. So that's why he's trying to
okay.
like prove that he was already disabled before his DLI in 2016 expired.
So there isn't work credits now, so it's back to the
Hmm.
remote DLI low probability
Yes.
and getting evidence from 2016, 2018.
Yep.
So that's where you're at.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Listen, I'm going to wish you well on that. Hopefully that strategy will be helpful. We haven't really shared anything with you that you don't know already, but perhaps it's validated it, I hope. But please keep in touch with us. Encourage you to use the course. You'll still need to do all the steps in there. Right now, you just need to get the evidence piece from 2016, 2018.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we have some others that are waiting to come in.
Yeah, so we have a Mr. Patterson in the waiting room. He said he's receiving SSI but still need extra money like part-time jobs. Asking what should he do?
All right. Come on in. Let's talk money. Yeah, I see
Is
some
he in?
comments floating around here about
Yeah,
the VA. Is Mr. Patterson on his way in?
I just admitted him. Maybe he's still trying to join, but yeah, we can answer a few questions while we wait for Mr. Patterson to join. We have a question from Joe. Oh, hang on.
Oh, he's
He's joining.
joining twice, actually.
Yeah. Okay, I think he's here. Looks like he's here, but he's on mute. I'm gonna ask him to
Yep,
unmute.
yep. And just for the audience out there, following up on just one thing for Dana is um, veterans with high ratings have a challenging time getting approved. Michael, maybe you can chime in on this for a variety of reasons. So, just what the VA has for a rating and that whole system, you'd like to think that it would have like a direct correlation, um, but they have a high degree of complexity. Do you have experience with these, Michael?
Yeah, we see this a lot. And to be honest, I agree. When I first started, I thought it was the opposite. I thought if someone's 100%, especially 100% VA disabled, uh, especially when it comes down to like one or two particular impairments that they're 100% for, that would translate directly. I don't honestly know. I know what the pattern is. I don't know why it exists, and it's very unfortunate that it does. There's some judges that really like veterans cases, and there's some judges that flat out will not approve veterans cases. There's a couple in particular that I have right now that are very clearly disabled. The record is, I mean, one of them, the largest file I've ever done a pre-hearing brief for hearing before, over 18,000 pages of medical records. And it got denied the first time, understandably low approval rating judge. Second time, it looks like it's going to get, at least at the hearing, the judge set it up as if he was going to deny again. And there's particular judges that I'm starting to think just do not like veterans cases. And I think the idea, the way they look at it, their perspective. So you're already getting VA disability, and there's already a whole host of social support services and programs that support veterans. I disagree with that very strongly. I think Brian's firm absolutely disagrees with that. I know they do. Uh, but it is hard. And especially with the VA records themselves that don't often uh, pinpoint or highlight what you're actually going through and instead make like a social analysis. They're just hard. Yeah, you need expertise if you're a veteran applying for disability assistance.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish it wasn't that way, but
Mhm.
no, thanks for that input. All right. Are we ready for Mr. Patterson?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Ah,
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for joining. How can we
Uh,
help you?
good afternoon, everyone. To be honest, I used to live in New York. Everything is okay, but I just have since I recently get married, right? I used to live with my mom, but I recently get married and come to Florida. But I know I'm still young, but I receiving my disability, but I don't know the difference between SSDI but the income what I normally get is like it always say SSI. But the point is that what I'm trying to make is that having a hard time finding a job in this in Florida right here, right? In Fort Lauderdale. But
Mhm.
at the same time, whatever I'm receiving, I usually receive my food stamp as well.
Okay.
But since I get married, they cut out everything. I used to get Medicaid. They cut out my Medicaid. I started to get a medical needy. That's what the name top it of it. As in like they still help me pay for my medical issue. As in like if I have any problem in the future or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is whatever I'm getting right now is just not feel enough. As in like I know everything goes up right now, what I pay for like food and anything, but I have to help pay my bills, right? But what I have in return sometimes I don't have much. But I'm trying to get a job, but having a hard time finding a job. So what is a good option you can motivate me after that?
I don't know about motivating you. It's a pretty
I
tall.
mean, like advising me, like something like.
I I understand you said you're from New York, but I am detecting an accent that you are somewhere from somewhere other than New York, perhaps prior.
Most likely, I'm from New York. I mean, not born in New York, but I born in Jamaica. But I'm a U.S. citizen.
Ah, welcome. I thought so.
Yes, I am a U.S. citizen. So is that
Okay.
I have a medical issue that called sickle cell.
Sickle cell. Okay. So the benefits that you're receiving, you are not certain if you are receiving SSI benefits or Social Security disability income. Is that correct?
Yes,
So do you know if you have, for your healthcare coverage, if you have Medicare or Medicaid or both?
I have Medicare. But when I was in New York, I did have Medicare and Medicaid at the same time.
Okay. So then if you have Medicare, Medicare is part of the benefit package when you're approved for Social Security disability. Is your monthly income check like over $1,000 a month?
Yes,
You don't have to tell me
1,000.
what it is. So you're on
Oh yeah,
Social Security disability. All right, so
right.
that's one helpful thing. So you can get a job and earn up to the allowed a monthly amount, and have no impact on your benefits. So that's one good thing about Social Security disability, $1,160 a month. Probably by the end of the year, I'll be confident enough that I've got this figure right.
Oh, that is the amount I can make. I'm sorry to
Yeah, well,
cut
you
you,
want to
but
stay ideally 20% below that. I see Philip nodding his head, so I must be, I got it right.
oh, okay.
So if you get a job and you go out and you earn like $700 a month doing something like that, $800 a month, you're right in the nice safe zone, right? So
Oh, okay.
that's one thing. In advance of that, one of the things I'd suggest that you do is, if you're a member here at the Disability Digest, is to request a benefit review so that our team can go through your disability benefits to make sure that you're not paying for things that you shouldn't be,
Right.
and maybe other benefits that are in your area that you are entitled to, that could help you with your cash flow.
Um,
Are you
to be,
currently a member here at the Disability Digest?
no, to be honest, no. But
Okay,
I just to be honest, I always do a look of research, but I recently find your channel about over a month. So I
okay,
subscribe to your channel, and I always watch your interview over a couple of weeks now.
good.
And so that is why I have a decision to ask a question today.
Yeah,
So,
good.
Thank you for
so that's
that.
Thank you for that.
yeah.
Yeah, you can certainly keep doing that all you want, but that's just like a little bit of help. And the membership, there's no charge, and the benefit review, there's no charge, and we could find some information out. So that's
Okay,
something
where
for
can I
you to
find that
definitely.
link?
I
Yep,
sent it. Yeah, I just
yep,
sent it in the chat, in YouTube.
yep.
Oh, okay, no problem.
So then it comes, the next thing would be, we know what you're on, get your benefits reviewed, and then the next step would be like you're looking for work to do, right?
Yes, that's something I know over the years, I mean, I can't do too much work. I think like lift up every stuff or anything. I just want something simple as a part-time job, like go to work 4 days a week and help me balance, because I'm not, we all do not like to stay in the house, and we always want to do something, uh, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but I just don't want to keep depending on the benefit and I'm
Right.
sitting down not doing anything.
Well, plus it would be, I expect, healthy for you to be engaged and have a sense of purpose and be contributing.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, is there something that you like to do, like a job type environment that you would like to do?
right.
I'm asking
Um,
a question.
oh yeah, yeah. Be honest, to be honest, that was like just something simple like dishwasher. Like I have like at the same time I have a CNA, a HAA certificate. Like helping back disabled people, and sometimes I like to motivate them back or work into a environment like that. But at the same time, everybody just wanted full time and stuff, and and it's just that once I'm not telling nobody I have a disability, but why
Yeah.
likewise I did tell someone that last time. So after that, it's like the person don't respond back to me. So I
Mhm.
would like Why these
Mhm.
people treating human being like this? And you know what I'm saying? But sometimes I just want to work in a local store like supermarket and stuff. But
Yeah.
I just don't picture myself like that. But if whatever it take, I have to do it. You know.
All right. So for a self-directed job search, that's I mean, I don't I'll leave that to you to go and to find a job on your own. But here's two tips I have for you. The vocational rehabilitation agencies have benefit planners there. And if you are in a position where you could work like on that part-time basis, you would be attractive for them because their job is to put people back to work that are, even if it's part-time. So I would
Right.
look up online your local center for independent living. Pardon me. Well, you could do that too, but that was my next thought. Is local is your voc rehab agency, get an appointment with benefit planner. It might take you, a few months to get in there, but I would go that route because they have jobs and they could provide you resources and tools and possibly retrain you or train you in an area to help you. So I definitely explore that.
Okay.
Yep. And if you're not able to find it, if when you join us as a member, you can contact our support desk, send in your zip code and where you're at, and we'll send you back your local voc rehab.
Oh, okay. No problem. No problem.
Yep.
And thank you for your information. And thank you.
Yep. I have one more for you before you leave. You said you do research online, so do you spend time online now?
Um, yes, normally, yes, I do. Most likely on my phone, but I have a laptop as well if I have to
Okay.
use it. And sometimes I most likely used to go on it every morning after my drink my tea, I eat my breakfast or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend at least 2 hours in it, and then after I do whatever I want for the rest of the day.
Okay. So here's another idea for you. We have a refer a friend program here at the Disability Digest.
Right.
And 1.9 million people that apply for disability every year. And as I mentioned in the top of the show, about 630,000 get it. So if you were to participate in that, if you know people that need their disability benefits and you refer them, we pay $200, up to $200 for referring them to the Disability Digest. So if you did
Okay.
that, once or twice a month, that could help you close the gap for income. And
Okay. So that's so what you're saying, like helping back others.
yep, yeah.
Oh,
So what the
okay.
ideal working relationship is you know somebody that needs help, you follow the directions and you refer them to us. And one of the challenges that people have is getting support. A lot of people quit, Mr. Patterson.
Okay.
So if
Right.
what we ask of people that partner with us, and this is voluntary on your behalf, is just to encourage them to stick with it and follow the directions through the approval process. If you can just do
Okay.
one thing to help them out, that will help the applicant out, plus you'll get paid.
Okay. That's good. That sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a good idea. So, likewise, so you're gonna put all the link in the description on the
Yeah.
YouTube, or
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Nadine has
let
already
me
done that.
uh let me go on my next phone and click the link while I'm on the live.
All right.
Okay.
And last is congratulations on getting married and moving. You got a lot going on in your life, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, it's not bad, to be honest. I can't complain, but I have to thank God for what I have in front of me. But it's just that sometimes I just like to keep myself going. You understand?
I
Mhm.
understand.
And I know I have a sickness and I can't do too much. Sometimes I do a lot of short. I get a little short of breath sometimes, but it's just that I have to just keep going off what I appreciate or what I have.
Well, and I thank you for sharing that. And I hope that resonates with others that are out there because the key is you've got to keep moving for everybody, right? There's only one direction and that's forward. So
And
thank
that's
you. I
forward.
wish you
And
well.
some Yes,
I
and sometimes I just don't wanna. Sometimes I just try my best to eat properly, but while I'm trying to eat properly and take care of myself, sometimes the good food that you want to buy is expensive sometimes.
right. Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. So I just like to have back something while I spend sometimes. I just don't wanna have myself empty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the thing.
And
Okay, I'm just
more green tea and less red stripe.
it's like I know that. Okay, I'm looking back. I'm gonna go back on my YouTube and find the live right now.
All right. Come back and visit us with an update. Nice to meet you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you, Mr.
All
Patterson.
right. Thank you, Mr. Patterson. So, still have a couple of questions here from the comments. So we got a question from Joe. He's asking, do I need to tell my primary care everything from each specialist? And how long after hearing will you get a decision?
Hmm.
So,
Michael,
Yeah.
you wanna address this one?
Yeah, that so Brian's practice and mine, we have clients all over the country, and every state differs as to how the medical facilities share records with each other. You do need to tell them generally, I would err on the side of caution on that one. Because sometimes they need to get ROIs filled out to just to get records from those specialists, or vice versa for the specialist to get records from the PCP. Some states like mine in Kentucky, they have more autonomous systems that just have like a national, essentially database of records where the doctors can just go in there and grab things. And it depends. I mean, if they're all a part of the same umbrella of medical groups, like here in Kentucky, it's Norton is the big one. Generally, they already know about each other, but yeah, I would err on the side of caution on that one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
okay. Another question here, wondering what the rules are with regards to back pay once approved for SSDI. They have only paid 2 months, but I believe I should be getting 7 months of back pay.
Well, the rules are the first 5 months that you're out of work is called an elimination period. Perhaps that's the confusion. And if you backed out those 5 months and you've been out of work for 7 months, but that's generally it. And then you can go back a maximum of 12 months. So I'd look at one, the elimination period, two, maybe they adjusted what is referred to as your onset date, your date of disability. That could be another factor, but we don't have that information, so but I'm just throwing it out there.
Mhm.
Ways to look at it. If you're just approved for disability benefits, one of the features that you could take advantage of here at the Disability Digest as a member is requesting a benefit review, providing that benefit review in your benefit review process to have it looked at, because it will show on the top your date of entitlement for
Mhm.
benefits, which will determine like what you should receive for income and back pay.
All right. Another question here from Athena. Hello, I'm on Medicaid and I see a chiropractor weekly, but they will only see me for one issue, though I have a few. And also, they will not fill out my functional capacity evaluation form.
All right. I don't know about the restricted number of visits, but I can address the
Mhm.
doctor part. Michael, you know anything about the restricted number of visits?
No, and we generally don't deal with chiropractors. They're not generally considered acceptable medical sources for Social Security, so we try to, if it helps, it helps, but otherwise steer people away from that path.
Right, right. So my take on the well, I agree with Michael on the chiropractor. But I want to answer this question as though it was your primary care or neurologist or any other doctor that is not willing to fill out your RFC form, because this happens commonly, unfortunately. So some people just won't do it. I think what I encourage people to do is to be persistent and ask again and go in and change your approach. Because when some people say that and report that back, what they've done is they've mailed it in and it hasn't come back. So they're saying, oh, they won't fill it out. And that's probably true because they got 1,000 things going on. The best strategy is you go into an appointment, you explain that you've been treated by them for however many years, and you have all these conditions and all these limitations. You'd love to work, but you can't, and you're applying for disability, and this income is critically important to you, and it's necessary that I have your help. You can use as strong of a word as you can. I'd suggest necessary. It's necessary for you to survive. Say it'll take you 5 to 7 minutes to fill this out. Would you please do so I can leave with it? That's the most effective way to do it. I've known other people that have filled it out for them, asked them to sign it because they are treating, they should know your limitations. And if they don't do either of those, then the fallback is what I discussed in the top of this presentation. Documenting your limitations, getting those into the medical records would be the next best thing, or changing your doctors. Some people have done that.
Okay. Thanks for that. We have a question here from David. He said, I've been disabled since 2018. The doctor said I can't work anymore. In 2025, he said I still can't work and there's no surgery that can fix me. He always said no lifting more than 10 pounds, no bending or twisting. He said if I have any problems, then I can see him. But he's saying I don't need to see him every year. Will they stop my disability if I don't see him every year?
Compliance. What do you think, Michael? You want to have a shot at this one?
Yeah, so they're ramping up CDRs in a very dramatic way, and they're going, it used to be every 3, 5, or 7 years, and now they're leaning heavily towards 3 years. So this is going to become much more common. You should see somebody. Maybe it doesn't have to be a specialist, maybe it doesn't have to be him in particular. Make sure that you have statements like that there's, a prognosis, there's virtually no chance of improvement or recovery, and statements that there's no surgery that can fix or alleviate this issue. But you need to be seeing somebody, even a therapist, even just somebody to talk to and basically tell that you're still in pain. Because what happens is when they pull up a CDR, if there are no treatment records, or if it's not very consistent, they look at the last couple of years and say there's hardly anything in there or nothing at all. They automatically kick you off. They won't even really go through a whole analysis. It's like an AI system now that just boom and kicks you off. So you got to be really careful with that. Yeah.
Good point.
Okay. All right. Another one here from Elaine. She said, I turned 65 this year. I'm on disability and I have Medicare already. Why am I getting information telling me that I have to switch over to Medicare through the state? Is this true?
Not that I know of. I don't know what state you're in, and there's nuances all over the place, but you Medicare is a federal program, so there isn't a state-based program. Where there could be some confusion is they don't know that you are they don't know that you're a disability recipient and that you've been on Medicare, and now that you're turning age 65,
65.
you're receiving target marketing messaging based on your your birth year. So that's My hunch, my speculation based on that, be another situation where as a member, you can request a review of your benefits here at the Disability Digest. When you do turn 65, one of the things that you could consider exploring is if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, you could now consider changing your coverage from an Advantage plan to a Medigap plan because the pricing structure changes. It's no longer increased pricing because you are under 65. So that's another thing to consider. Happy
All right.
birthday, 65.
Happy birthday. Yeah. So one last question here from April. I got approved for SSDI and awaiting award letter. My application started in 2018 and finally won after third hearing. What is the typical time frame for payment? Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah. Michael, I'd love to hear from you on this one because payments are all
Yeah.
over the place for
Oh
us.
yeah. Well, definitely congratulations on that. That's, 2018, that's a long time period.
That is.
I mean, I always tell people it's one of the most frustrating processes that I could possibly imagine, and having that kind of weight off your shoulders is a tremendous feeling. The payment, so you're going to have quite a substantial amount of back pay in there, I would imagine, unless, there's some type of massive offset. It would have to be a massive offset. Uh, but it will be definitely, I would think, likely over $50,000, which would take longer at the payment center to get released. Now, typically, and the payment centers are just an absolute mess right now, as me and Brian have discussed, and many of the other reps and attorneys in this field all the time. They're a complete mess. What we generally see on average is within a couple of months to maybe 3 months, back pay gets released following the monthly payment start date, a couple months to 3 months. There can be issues where it gets lost, basically, like where the payment center it goes into this gridlock situation where it doesn't move from one end and thus can't move from the other end. And then it just stops. And so you may need to call the field office, the payment center. We have to call them on a routine basis to try to get them to pay us. It can be a pain. Hopefully sooner than later.
Right. Yeah, thank you for that. One tip on that is if your back pay gets, let's say, 120 days and beyond, something for you to consider would be to contact a local representative and explain, I've taken me this long to get benefits. I finally got approved. They owe me this amount of money. And it's at this payment center, which if you don't know what payment center it's at, it's in your award letter in the top right-hand corner. Can you help me get that released? That's an effective way for people to get money out, but don't do it too early because you're not going to get the attention. They'd be like, well, listen, you just got to wait. Like Michael said. Okay.
All
Great.
right. Do we still have time for two more questions? We just have.
Yeah, I'll take two more.
Okay.
Two
So a
more.
question
Then
here
we'll
from
wrap.
Phyllis. My medications are paid by Ryan White program. What do they deduct the $185 for Part B? My expensive medicine is already paid by Ryan White program called Adapt.
Right. So I think the 185 sounds like it's the Medicare Part B premium.
Part B.
Right.
So he's asking what is that for if it doesn't cover his expensive medicine?
Right. So Medicare has two parts. So it's Medicare Part A, which is your hospital. And then Medicare Part B is for you to go to the doctors. And Medicare Part B, A, there's no charge. B, there's a premium for it. It's a monthly premium. $185. You're taking it out of your check automatically. And so that's separate than your medication because your medications are covered by Part D, or if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, they're included in that. And a Medicare Advantage plan is Medicare Part C. Throwing a lot of numbers at you. point that I
Okay.
want to make, two separate things. What you can consider is this. I don't know anything about you, what your condition is or your income is, but there are many people out there that are paying for their Medicare Part B that do not need to because of their income threshold. So as a general rule, if your monthly disability check is below $1,700, it is possible that your state could pay for that, which would take care of that problem. So how do you find that out? It's one of the things you can find out as a member here at the Disability Digest. There's no charge for your membership. You come and join, you get a benefit review, talk to a benefit specialist, discuss what your check amount is. If it makes sense to pursue it, they'll give you the application process. It could be done within 30 days. So that's an option for you.
All right. So down to the last question from Clint. I've been on SSDI since September of 2022. I
Mhm.
had to have both of my feet partially amputated. It was the reason for my disability. November 2024, I had a below the knee amputation. Do I need to update them or will they be updated through my Medicare records?
Michael, how would you address this one?
I mean, yeah, they generally don't automatically update. I know we have a lot of people at our end, especially that try to send us records like after approvals and such. And yeah, generally Social Security won't like randomly order records until a CDR comes about. But if you have two partial amputations, that's quite substantial. And I mean, they'll find out if they ever reopen your case, they'll definitely find out when you list it out there. I don't think there's any reason to preemptively send records.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's just you're not in their radar right now, which is a good place to be. So, so just keep going to the doctors or doing what your treatment protocol is, like Michael had said earlier. And then when the situation comes, you've got like another card to play. Yeah, good, good. All right, in
All right.
respect of time, great questions today. And Michael, thank you for your contribution and sharing those impactful insights on why to document all of your conditions. Excellent.
Thank you
Um,
for having me, Brian.
yeah, appreciate your great work. Philip, thank you for your contribution and your questions. Those of you that are not getting the support from Philip's group, if you're a member at the Disability Digest, just ask us. We'll point you in the right direction. It's a great place to get support, connect with others that are going through the approval process. Nadine, wonderful organization. Thank you for doing all
All
this
right.
today.
Of
We
course.
will not be here next week. No show next week. We have a prior obligation. So mark your calendars for 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about getting like a side hustle for the summer. Like this is something that people that are going through the disability approval process, pros and cons of a trial work period, like something like that, or if you're already approved for benefits, what it would look like. So we get a lot of questions. Can I do a summer job? Ice cream stand needs some help. I want to cut some grass, things like that. So that's what we're going to cover next live event. So stay tuned. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Make it a great day. Till the next time. Be well.
See